All right, so we are back. Snowed in, obviously, like probably a lot of you all are too. So I figured perfect time to make a video. I've been wanting to make a video talking about some of the things I've been into for the last 4.5 years while I wasn't making YouTube videos, um, and also kind of want to talk about some of the things that I plan on doing with the YouTube channel going forward because I plan on making YouTube videos, you know, for quite some time. I have a lot of plans, a lot of ideas for more YouTube and shooting content and all kinds of stuff. So, also, I want to address uh, some of the things that have came. I also want to talk about some of the things that have came to light uh, since that first video that I made. Coming back to making YouTube videos, for the first time in 4.5 years. Um, I have obviously followed this topic, since the beginning. Um, and First off, I knew that making that video was going to be somewhat controversial. I knew by the nature of it, making that video, I was going to get some sort of backlash. I could care less about backlash. You got the wrong guy. Um, but I also hoped by making that video that it would at least, with somebody giving a plausible explanation for the things, the anomalies that everybody saw that people are pointing out and drawing many conclusions on. I had hoped that by doing that, it would, people would have something to point to and say, hey, maybe we don't jump to all the conclusions right away. And there was a lot of that, there was a lot of comments, but it seemed to me like people had already, either made up their mind one way or another on this topic. And that seemed to be the consensus. Either you were commenting, hey, I agree, I've kind of thought this myself, or you were commenting some crazy things. So we're going to get into some of that. So first off, first off, if you don't know anything about somebody and you get in there and the first video you watch is this video, and then without doing any sort of research, you get on there and you comment and say and accuse them of being paid $7,000 to make these videos like they are some sort of international asset, you have absolutely lost your mind. All right. I'm about as blue collar of a guy as it gets. I have absolutely no law enforcement affiliation, and for people to just get on there and just assume, oh, hey, dude's been paid $7,000, you sound absolutely off your rocker. Just letting you know. All right, and you're the type of person that's easy to discredit beyond that. So, with that being said, I want to talk about, in that last video I made, I just talked about the ballistic aspect of the shooting that we all saw. And, explained, a theory. And like I said, that I don't know, I have no idea what really happened. I'm not saying that what I said is what happened. I'm not saying that the theory that I came up with is exactly right. But what I am saying is some of these theories that people are pushing are so far out in left field and are almost easily disprovable. So we're going to talk about some of those things. So first off, I've been, paying attention to this topic, since kind of the beginning. And so I get in my, YouTube feed, I'm constantly getting, videos, popping up on the topic in my recommendations. And I'm scrolling through, I've kind of paid attention to some of the things that people are saying, and for the most part, I just blow it off. But there are a lot of channels that I have respected, YouTube channels that make gun content. I'm not going to call anybody out. There are plenty of these channels that make gun content, claim to be experts in this field. And just with the cursory understanding that I have, making, for many years, making lots of YouTube gun, firearms content, can look at a lot of these things and know right away that they don't seem to have a lot of basis in reality, or definitely don't wouldn't be something that could be considered factual in any court. So we're going to break down some of those things, because I feel like if there are gun channels out there making, you know, for 4 months every night, having live streams talking about this topic, and pushing narratives that, if I know just from the cursory understanding that I have of some of this, you know, of firearms and ballistics and some of the things, and video making and editing and sound and all that, if I know that they don't make a lot of sense, I would think that they know that too. And if they know that, if they know that they're saying things that don't make sense based on the experience that they have, you know, making firearms content, then they're doing it for one of two reasons, and we'll get into both of those too. So, number one, I'm scrolling through my feed and I see, you know, a video pop up from a gun channel talking about new theories on the exploding microphone. First off, these gun channels. So if you're making gun videos, you know what, or you are probably filming a lot of high-speed interactions on digital video. Okay, so now there's some anomalies that happen when you film high-speed interactions on digital video, and I would think that anybody, you know, seriously making firearms content and filming these things would be aware of this, especially when you are filming from cell phone cameras with low frame rates, like 30 frames per second, maybe even lower. Okay, and then you're taking those images and cropping them. So now we're going to explain the cropping them, which means expanding that part of the video, but making the pixels bigger. So when you film high-speed interactions on digital video in low frame rates, even, you know, 60 frames per second, there's a lot of this, but, you know, 60, 30 frames per second especially, and when you really get down to the lower frame rates, it really gets bad. You get image artifacts in your video when you slow those images down. So it may look like a fluid video, but then when you slow those videos down, there are, just like if you move your hand too fast and you get a trace, okay, there are image artifacts in the video that will appear because it's not flowing together fluidly. A lot of these things that people are pointing out is, oh, look at this, I think this is a piece of the exploding microphone, or this or that, can easily, and I'm not, maybe it is an exploding microphone, but when you go out and you say this to people that have just a small understanding of these topics, like image artifacts, they're going to look at you like you are not somebody that they want to pay attention to. Okay. Now, like I said, and if there are gun channels out there pushing this, I would think that they know what image artifacts are on digital video. And I'll show you some examples here of what image artifacts look like. I'll show you an exaggerated example. And then I'll also show you an example from one of my, you know, ballistics gel tests filmed at 60 frames per second, where image artifacts just appear. Okay, so
Hotel, how may I direct your call? Jonathan Hughes, security, please.
So those are image artifacts in digital video. And if you are, especially from far away, various distances that all these things are coming from, if you are recording a video and then you zoom it in, so you expand the pixels to get a closer up view of that small area of the picture, you're really distorting those images and making those image artifacts even look more distorted. And then you can almost pick out anything you want out of them. It's like, no offense to anybody, but it's like some of the videos and pictures of Bigfoot you see that are, there's nothing there, guys. There's nothing there, okay? And then beyond that, or somebody shooting from the side, that's a bullet in the air. A bullet in the air, okay. Even so, first off, if the bullet's supersonic, do you know how hard it is to catch a bullet in the air, supersonic flight with a cell phone camera? I know it's really, really, really hard, even if you film at the highest frame rates, okay? Second, same anomaly. You are from some faraway angle over the top of a crowd, and there is a tiny dot for a second in a picture from a cropped video, slowed down of a zoomed in cropped image, and you're like, ah, that's the bullet, guys. I see the bullet. You go out and you say these things to normal people, it's discrediting, okay? Another one, let's see, another one. Sound analysis and being able to pinpoint the shooter's location. So me, as somebody I have a cursory, a small understanding, but I think I can debunk this one. And I'm not trying to debunk things. That's not what I'm here to do. But I don't want people to go out and look silly. All right. So because I have done lots of long range and extreme long range where I'm shooting things 1.5 miles and beyond, and then having to take all those videos and sound and sync them together so that they match up and are giving everything is timed right, and the images are right, the sounds are right, the sound coming back from targets are right, all those things are matching up, to know that all those videos sync perfectly. I have a cursory understanding of how, people, how they triangulate sound with microphones. Okay, now number one, and this kind of can be explained really simply. Have you ever, everybody, especially if you live in any sort of large city in America, pretty much, you've heard of ShotSpotter. It's the app, or it's it's a app used by police in most big cities. That all it does is it's a group of microphones placed all around the city, and if somebody fires a gun within that city, the different microphones pick it up, and it's based on timestamps. Okay, so if I were to shoot against, so the speed of the sound of the bullet, or the sound of the gun firing, or the sound of the bullet being supersonic, both those sounds travel at the speed of sound, right? So the speed of sound is a constant. So if I was to fire a gun and there are 3 of these microphones in different directions around me, but I'm kind of closer to one than the other, that sound is going to reach the closest microphone first before it reaches the next one a little further away, and then the one a little further than that. So that's how they use those microphones to triangulate a shooter's position. And it can do it pretty close, and they can get you really close to where shots were fired from. Those are done, and it's capable, it's possible to do with the ShotSpotter, because those are specifically tuned microphones, tuned to pick up the frequencies of gunshots and timestamp them immediately. And they are stationary, okay? They're stationary, and they know where they're at. Now, you get me, and they are all the line of sight microphones to a shooting, okay? So if there's a bunch of buildings in the way, that distorts the sound. Those microphones are going to pick it up differently, and there's an algorithm based in the software that deletes those and uses the ones closest to the shooting, okay? So now, if you do a shooting inside of a fishbowl, I don't care if you're shooting down into the fishbowl, or you believe that the shot or the explosion or whatever you believe came from inside the fishbowl. You mean to tell me that people that tell you that they can look at video of somebody moving, especially when the event happens, people are moving fast, all kinds of stuff is happening, right? You mean to tell me these people are saying that they can look at they can take those videos, unknown cell phone videos filmed at who knows what hertz. I'm not sure that those things I'm not 100% on, but different model cell phones moving in a giant bowl where sound, anybody that's ever shot an animal or shot into a valley knows the amount of echo that comes back from especially a bullet being supersonic inside of a valley. Okay. Now, you mean to tell me that there's people that are going to be able to take 3 cameras, 4, I don't care how many cameras, and be able to tell the difference in the times the sound arrived, timestamp those all perfectly, and then triangulate where the shooter came from within inside of a fishbowl. You've really just got to use a little logic to and think about some of these things before they just really don't make any sense. Okay. Now, like I said, I am not saying that I'm not saying that they're not all. I don't believe almost anything I'm told by anybody, especially people that tell me that I have to do what they tell me. Okay. So that being said, I'm also not trying to look like a fool or trying to look like trying to go out and say things that are going to later on make me look like my opinion doesn't matter. So now, if I know these things just from the understanding that I have of filming videos of shooting rifles, right? Some random dude shoots videos of rifle content. I am a nerd. I have always I get into my hobbies and I go head first into them and I have to know everything. So if I have this understanding, I would think that at least some of these channels have this at least the same cursory understanding, but yet they're making videos entertaining entertaining some of these theories, some of these insane things 5 nights a week. Okay. 5 nights a week live stream on crazy theories. Okay. Now, and it's not like, and when I watched their live stream, I was like, oh, maybe they're just like, okay, guys, let's not, yeah, I know that's a theory, but it doesn't make sense because of this. No, 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 that's not happening. No, they're on there like, oh, yeah, maybe guys could be. I saw one person comment in a live stream. I heard somebody commented, there were 33 they paid money to say this, okay? That there were they saw or heard that there were 33 planters around the fishbowl that this happened in, and the number 33 means that this was an Illuminati or whatever thing. You go out and say these things and you just sound silly, okay? So now it makes you wonder if me, random dude, just like making YouTube videos, shooting guns and stuff, if I'm aware of this stuff, some of these YouTube channels that make a living, I've never made a living. I barely made hardly any money off of YouTube. Okay. I do it because I enjoy it and I like sharing my hobby. Okay. But if I have that understanding, these people that make a living making these videos, you would think that they at least have this understanding. So now, if they do, you have to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Why are they continuing to make these videos every night if they probably don't believe what they're saying? And to me, there can only be 2 reasons. Okay, one, one, either obviously they're doing it for views and clicks, which translates to money, so it's a monetary thing, and that would probably be the least nefarious. 2, they're doing it to try to put a bunch of theories out there, get people to buy onto them, so that when these people go out in public and say these things, they're able to discredit their opinions and make them look silly. And then later on, when they have an opinion on something that does matter and is right, they'll be able to look at them and say, well, they're discredited because they had these crazy theories about this other thing. Okay, so the word psyop comes to mind. Okay, so, and I'm not saying any of that's what's going on, but you have to wonder at some of the thing after when you see some of these things. Okay, now that's really all I want to say about that. I just wanted to say those things. It's like, man, okay, I honestly don't care. I'm not out here to do this to make money. I'm not trying to have a bunch of friends doing this industry or getting into this stuff. I like being by myself, doing my own thing, and talking about what I want to talk about. So that being said, let's talk about some of the stuff that I've been doing for the last 4.5 years and why I kind of got out of making YouTube videos and now plan on kind of doing it again for a while. So number one is the last video that I made. I said in it, my wife was 9 months pregnant, getting ready to have a baby any day. And I knew my life was going to be, I've already got 2 kids. And my life was going to be that much more hectic. And my video schedule was probably going to slow down. Now, I didn't expect it to just, come to a complete halt, but that is essentially what happened. It became way more hectic than I thought it was going to. I changed jobs for better insurance and more money. Had a way busier work schedule. All my kids, my other 2 children, as they get older, they're doing more and more sports. Their schedule gets busier and busier. My wife is a teacher. Her schedule's already busy. Just, life gets in the way. Now, me, like, as you guys know, I am obviously I get addicted to hobbies. I can't not do something. So kind of about the time my youngest was born, 4.5 years ago. She's 4 years old now. I don't ever want to put my kids out here on YouTube. That's not something you're going to see me doing. But right about the time my youngest was born, my oldest daughter, a friend of hers, was doing Taekwondo. Now, nothing against Taekwondo, but she said, can I do Taekwondo? And I said, well, I've been a fan of fighting and MMA for a long time. Never really trained, but with my friends and stuff, messing around. But my daughter was watching, or my daughter's friend was doing Taekwondo, and so I said, "Well, if you want to do a martial art, we'll start with jujitsu." So I took her to jujitsu class the next week, and after the kids class, they had the adults class, and I'm just kind of sitting there watching. And about 10 minutes in, I was like, all right, looks like too much fun. So I called the coach that night and signed up. And I've been doing jujitsu 3, 4, 5 times a week since, or every week since. It's one of those things, a hobby. That MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai. When I get into something, it's just something I've always done. I have to learn, just as you see with shooting, long range shooting. When I get into something, I have to learn everything about it. I'm now almost pretty close to being a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Been training Muay Thai and kickboxing for 3 years almost. Wrestling, um, judo a little bit, just martial arts. It is an addicting hobby. And another thing is, if you guys noticed in the towards my last few videos, I kind of let myself get a little bit out of shape. Martial arts, lifting weights. I used to always keep myself in shape, and this has got me back at 43 years old. I'm in better shape than I was in my early 20s. So uh, there's a lot of that, and so that's what I've been doing, and I plan to continue to do that, and try to keep up a decent schedule on making some firearms content. Also, like I said, this is not a politics channel. That's not what I do. But when I have something that I think I can put some input on, not going to be trying to debunk everything, but if there's something I think I can speak on and have a little bit of input, if people will listen to it, I'm going to say it on here. So if there's people that irritates, I'm sorry. And going forward, also, I've got a a lot of cool content. Like I said, we're snowed in. It's not I'm getting out and making any shooting content. I've been uploading a lot of shorts lately. I will continue to do that. I've got so many videos to upload shorts out of. The shorts weren't a thing when I stopped doing YouTube videos. And I've been the next video that I've been doing some research, and was actually when I had stopped making videos, was pretty deep into researching. Even talked to some reps from SIG about the new the 6.8 Fury round and their new rifle that goes with it. And I had some questions, and I'm going to make a video, talking about some of the questions that I still have about that whole the high pressure situation and a lot of things that come along with that. And also, at some point, I'd like to get a hold of some of the new cases with this similar technology and test them out for myself. So lots of things I still plan on doing in the future. I actually just acquired some land that hopefully, if everything goes right, I will be able to have a 1,000 yard, maybe even more range right next to the house, be able to do as much content as I want. So lots of things coming in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you soon. I'm out.